I don't know about the rest of you, but this year has started off with, I've been telling everybody, more than a bang. It started off with bombs going off everywhere, and they're still going for me. So I've had quite an interesting week. We get a front row seat to watch children go through things that are extremely frightening, and it can be very intimidating. But I'm glad we're there. Otherwise, they would be in far worse shape than what we sometimes see them, and our heart breaks for them. All right, let's start here at the beginning. I'm going to tell you what my topics are. I wanted to go through, the annual report is actually finished. We do an annual report each year for the School for the Deaf and the Blind, and we report that out. It's going to be presented you are the first group to get it presented to them. We're going to present it tonight to the advisory council. And then after that, I'm going to show you, I will barely just skim over a strategic plan, which means that your divisions, and hopefully Adam knows what I'm talking about. We're going to go through an accreditation this year for the School for the Deaf through CEASD. It's the first time ever that we have ever embarked on getting an accreditation through CEASD. It's because it's expensive, not because we aren't awesome, because we are, I want it validated that we are extremely awesome. And I mean that sincerely. And then I'm going to show you the USD Portrait of a Graduate. The Portrait of a Graduate is an endeavor that has been put forth by the State Board of Education. They've asked all districts to have a Portrait of a Graduate. Interestingly enough, we were doing that before even the Board of Education came out with their Portrait of a Graduate. And so we came out with ours about the same time as the Board of Education did. And so we stopped for a bit and said, let's see how does ours compare to the Board of Education's. And I am happy to report we were right in alignment with what the Board of Education was doing. Only we added the important factors of a deaf and hard of hearing child. And I'll explain that more in depth in just a few minutes. And then I want to talk about the stuff that's Adam's made of, which is the motivational stuff. So let's go first to the annual reports. Okay. If you want to click on that real quick. So this is, if you scroll down, I'm going to explain the graphs. I'm going to go quickly through it. This will be public. Go down up to, no, back to the very top. Sorry. Right there. Top of this page. No, one more. Should do up more. Right there. Okay. Sorry. Page 3.
Page 3.
Okay, there's a lot of facts, numbers, figures. It takes a long time to get these facts, numbers, and figures together. This is the School for the Deaf. So there are some of you that actually serve in a district program. Those numbers are not included in here. Oh, how I would love to include those numbers. To tell you the exact number of students across the state would be glorious. It's really a hard number to track because they don't have a box that says this child's deaf and hard of hearing. So we track them outside of USDB. The state tracks them as if they're on an IEP for a student who has a hearing loss. That's how they track them. Well, that's not an accurate number because not all kids that have a hearing loss are on an IEP. Many are on 504s, some not even on that. And that's also not accurate because it also doesn't capture the multi-disabled students. And there is no box that says, here's what the multiple disabilities are. So the number I'm sharing with you is the number that USDB accounts for, that I know, that I gather from the outreach. I gather from our Power School, which is our student information system, to tell you the numbers that we have. Boy, how I'd love to be able to articulate across the state. We need to either have a way of reporting that, in which they check a box, and even that, I think that might be harder to find. This is the number of students that USDB served statewide this last year, 2,617 students.
That's with the blind as well, too.
Yes, and blind, thank you. Now I'll go through how that's broken down later. 2,617 between the deaf and the blind students that only USDB serves. On our campuses, that's here at this campus, that's at JMS, that's at KBS, or the Ogden campus, because it includes the blind students. you have 351 campus-based students. We have hired to serve those students 165 teachers across these 2,617 students. So there's 165 teachers. On the campus, we have a 5-to-1 ratio, pretty much. I mean, some larger classes, some smaller classes. The blind school has got much smaller classes than we do. And so that can be a 5-to-1. I don't like how it did 0-to-1. I'm gonna have to have that fixed. That'll drive me nuts. Related service providers, we've got 44 throughout the state under USDB. Support staff, these are the people, the support staff in the classrooms. So this is interveners, this is aides, deaf mentors, people who tried a direct service to a child but who is not a teacher, if that makes sense. And we count the related service providers as teachers because they're on teacher contract. So anybody who's not a teacher contract who provides a direct service to a student. Administration, 23 different administrators. Of the students that are on our campus programs, 25% qualify as economically disadvantaged. Students on an IEP on our campus programs, 90% are on IEP. The other 10% is on a 504. So that we could have put that in there, but it seems like redundant. Like 90% says it, then the rest is IEPs, because we can only take IEP or 504 students. All the students, we hit a graduation rate, all the students who graduated. Let me tell you, that is sometimes hard. We have gone into the homes, literally, hey, get up, you're going to school. We've done this before with a student that really struggled. We have 86 transportation routes across all our different campuses to get the kids from, this is St. George, EDS, all that kind of jazz. So now if you go, this is the number of students, 2017. This is the number of services that we provided to across the state, services that were given. So PIP services were given to 1,107. I'm just trying to help you understand the context. The 3 classroom, outreach services, O&M, interpreting, intervener, audiological services is our #1 service that we provide throughout the state. You can see. And you guys get an opportunity to talk to the audiologist today. I think they're going to have a great presentation. I've been CC'd on emails and watching things, so they've got a lot to show you. But we provide a lot of services audiologically throughout the state. Go on up a little more. This is what we have in outreach, and where all the students are placed. Apparently this, I don't, Adam, you can help me. This must be a very barren part of the state.
Yeah, it's Paiute County, and then that's Wayne County. So it's the Grand Staircase and I-70. It's just, if you haven't driven I-70, you should drive it. It's beautiful, but it's empty.
Well, you can see we don't have students out, and these must be pretty remote areas. If you want to scroll down.
Oh.
Yeah, it's page 4. Okay, so this is breakdown. Go up. I want to catch. So this is the breakdown of USDB enrollment across the state. This is broken out. Outreach, there are 980 students, deaf and blind. As I said, 351 classrooms. PIP has the largest number, 1,278. That's because they don't have the same criteria they have as school age. You can work with a student. We do work with students who have, something wrong with their ears. I mean, but it's going to clear up. They have ear infections a lot. So these kids, that's why you don't see all those kids, because they don't all qualify once they get past PIP. This is the 351 students, and we took that number and we just looked at that number and said, how many are where? So 146 of those kids are at JMS. That's my largest campus. For a deaf school, that is large across the country. 146 is large. There are superintendents and assistant superintendents for schools with that number just alone. Kenneth Burdett, 54, Elizabeth Long here is 46. And then you can see we've gotten bigger and bigger in St. George. We got 22. So listening and spoken language, that I have a student campus that's out in South Weaver. So there's a small class out there. And then the blind school. If you come here, you can see across the state, this is including outreach, campus, everything. 58% of the services or the students are deaf and 42% are blind. If you take this number, that same number, 2,609. Oh, she messed up. We got to fix that number too. Anyway, PIP, you can see deaf, we have a bit more of the deaf students than blind. But when you come to campus, the campus programs are essentially deaf students. Well, I mean, there's a few across the campus that's spread out across all the campus, 51 kids. Outreach, we have a larger outreach program, and then there's your numbers. I'll talk to you about those numbers. Anyway, scroll down. Within our campus programs, this is our disability categories that are listed on the IEPs. I just want to point this out. This is not how this graph should look, but it is. What I mean, and you know what I'm talking about, Adam. This should be reclassed. Anytime we catch a student that comes in developmentally delayed, communication disorder, other health impairment, it should only be deaf, hard of hearing, multi-disabled that I should be seeing on this graph. So what's happened is something has not been done in the system. So when they come to us, they prove they have hearing loss. We have to call an IEP really quick to make sure that we designate them as a hearing loss, because we can only serve students with a hearing loss. So a developmental aid can't work because they have to have hearing loss. Other health impairment work, that would be multi-disabled because they have to have a hearing loss or vision loss or deafblind. This is the ethnicities that we have on campus. Come out here, we did some studies on our educators. So we have a lot of educators with lots of years of experience. So if you add all that up, you got 40, 54, and 24, we got like 78% of our teachers have been here a very long time. Turnover is not high. And I think that's because of the job we do and the passion that we have for the work that we do. And it's a very rewarding career. Right here, you can also see that the vast majority have this over here. Once you get here, so this, you would add these up, you'd get some teachers across the state. But this is how many teachers have doctorate degrees, how many have master's degrees, and of course the bachelor's is, they've moved past, and most of them have master's or doctorate degrees, mostly masters. For the School for the Deaf, we like to track and understand how many teachers are deaf people. I get that question asked of me all the time. And what's the ratio of deaf to hearing? So you can see at KBS, more of the teachers are deaf than there are hearing people. Whereas obviously that makes perfect sense to me. LSL, they're mostly hearing people. In fact, they're all hearing people. That makes sense to me. Deaf Cell, more hearing than deaf. JMS, more hearing than deaf, and you can see how that goes overall. How it goes. That shouldn't be like that. See, this is why when you present, you're like, what in the world? Anyway, okay, because that's going to be higher. That's all of US. Oh, no, I take that back. I take that back. I have people who directly report to me. Who directly report to me that are teachers are deaf. That's just happened to be how it is. That's not the whole. That is accurate. Okay. When you see this report on there, you can drill down on the strategic plan that I'm going to talk about here in the blind school, and we have a statewide facilities plan. Portrait of a graduate is also in here if you're ever interested. It talks about our graduation rate. I'm going to just look at the graphs because that's usually what visual people do. Modality of campus students. So on campus, 71% of the deaf school is students who use sign language. 29% use listening and spoken language. And this 71%, these students very likely also still use listening and spoken language. These are the ones who only use listening and spoken language. Does that make sense? So these could use any level of spoken language. However, if you look at outreach, that graph significantly flips. And I wanted to illustrate that so people understand, so that we know the demographics. So 97% of the students are using spoken language only. Makes sense, right? Because they're placed in the district, and that was their least restrictive environment. And we've got 3% that use American Sign Language, and that may be, I'm guessing, students who are in an area that they can't come to a district or to a campus program, and so we have to provide services to them where they're at. All right, if you want to scroll down some more, a little blurb about the PIP, so you can understand that. This is that people often ask me about the communication modalities of preschool, since we collaborate and have a large, strong collaboration. One of the things I am most proud of is that we collaborate well in Utah. I am excited, I am invigorated by, and I want to keep pushing that we work together. I've said this often before, if you are to write a letter, if your goal is to write a letter, you can't write the letter without the paper, and you can't write the letter without the pencil. They are complementary to one another, and each provides a different benefit to the activity or the goal you want to accomplish. I see that the same way in deaf education with ASL English and LSL. Both have great value to add. Both are important and integral to the success of that child. They need both. And that's how I feel about things. So we support all the modalities, and each child is going to use it differently. Each child is going to take a tool and be connected to a tool better than they are to another tool to help them succeed. That's normal, and we want to celebrate that. So these are the students in preschool that only use listening spoken language. These are the ones that use both. And these are the ones that use only ASL English and no sign. So you can see we're about a third there, third this year. It's not always that number, but that's how it is this year. And come down here, we use a lot of interpreters. We have 53 interpreters, you can see here. 60 students use them one-on-one across the state. The rest are used in a group setting type things, like one of our campus programs use them. So you can see that the most of the interpreters are using a group type of interpreting situation in the Salt Lake area. And then you can see these are one-on-ones. The orange are one-on-one, blue is those who are getting group interpretation. It means there's a larger mass of deaf children in that area. All right, audiological services. We talked about 2,627. This is taken from the data that the audiologists log within a program called TIMS. Like we have Power School, they have TIMS. That's what it is. So these are the students they regularly serve. So we just want to capture that. These are kids that you don't just see them once, you keep going back and following up with them. Hearing evaluations that were done, there was 1,028. And then we had hearing aid visits and then placing of assistive technology devices. So these are services that are provided to the students. So it is likely that the child would get this and then also get services here too. Does that make sense? Because it's services. We're not counting students here, we're counting services. So keep going. I think we're about done. Oh, yep. Okay, keep going. This is an evaluation of our students on our campus program and their vocabulary results. So these are standard scores, and it's lovely that this group, I don't have to explain standard scores. I did write it up here for the layman who's reading it. We did have some students as low. We have many students whose standard score is below 55 when we do a vocabulary assessment. I know you guys encountered that. This does not shock you in any way, but they can't even test. So we have students that don't even show up on the expressive one word or their receptive one word at all. Their language is not there. And then we have a student as high as 140. There were some that were 110 to 120. But you can see the average per grade level of where they were. You can see where my 140 kid was last year. It brought the numbers up. Next one, if you go down one more page.
There you go.
Yep. So we do measures of academic measures of academic progress. We use this one because most schools for the deaf are using NWA's MAP results. And it is the hopes that as even more deaf schools sign up, we will finally have norms for deaf kids. So right now it's a work in progress, and there's a lot of us who are involved in that. This is where a RIT score is kind of like a standard score, but they call it a RIT score. And this is the national average, is this orange line. And it shows you where our kids are in the national average by grade level for there. So we're not quite there on national average on everything. Isn't it bizarre? This is always, and yeah, there's less of a number change, but look at that science. I don't know. When they get to science, there's a little bit more struggle. Extracurricular activities. I hope I can emphasize this one. Leave that right there for a second. You can see we did 23 after-school activities, different after-school activities, 39 summer camps, 3 sports that we participated in, volleyball, basketball, and football. And 165 students participated in the summer camps this year, which was awesome. More. And 22 students participated in either football, basketball, volleyball, one of those sports. And it has a list of some of the things we have done here. You're welcome to read. And you can see some images. I think that's the last of it right there for that one. So go back to the presentation. I'm flying through. I'm gonna go down the next slide. Just go to the next slide on this one. Okay. So the USD portrait of a graduate, I was explaining to you. This is the competencies that we came up with. What we did, what the purpose of a portrait of a graduate. Who has heard what that is? The portrait of a graduate.
Last year we all heard it.
Okay, good. Because it's the vision that you have for what you say. When you a child walks in from the school for the deaf, what do you expect them to look like, behave like, learn, know? How do you encapsulate that? And that's what we came to. This was surveys, focus groups, revisiting, coming back at it. And honestly, Nate did the heavy lift on this one. He did a fantastic job. And held those focus groups, reconvened the data, and then we were able to look at it and make some decisions and how we're going to go. So I want to just focus. Deaf identity is pretty self-explanatory. We've got 4 different areas, subcategories under that. And then we also have excellence. This is academics, right? This is the stuff that went to school to teach right here. I think it's fascinating that for the most part, that's one of 4 different big categories. Yes, in deaf education, we focused on this too. We got that too. But I would say when people ask you what you do, they think this. You know, this is what I think they think I do. This is what I do. And, you know, what my mom thinks I do, that kind of thing. Autonomy and foundations of our life. These 2 categories are getting heavy emphasis across the world, across the nation, and in particular in Utah. And as much as social emotional learning gets a bad rap because people think different things of what it means, in essence, this is what we're talking about. This is vital. Their mental wellness, so they have mental wellness, critical thinking, problem solving. So all this is social emotional health. Creativity and innovation, teamwork. We added this one. This is specific to the School for the Deaf Portrait Graduate, and that is curiosity. We find that the students that are more curious about the world are going to perform, and be better than the ones who aren't engaged. Another one, honesty and integrity and responsibility, hard work, resiliency, lifelong learning and personal growth, service, respect, and empathy. So fascinatingly enough, as we talk through this is why the strategic plan is aligned the way it is. This piece is what you would call social emotional learning. This piece is your academics, and this is the identity of a deaf and hard of hearing. To understand that I am different than the typical person out there. I'm a 1%er because I'm deaf or hard of hearing, and that's glorious, and that's wonderful. And how do you react and respond in that fashion? How do you celebrate that difference, and how do you embrace it? So let's go to the next one, and you can look on that link. I can share this with you'll share with them.
This is out, yeah.
Okay, good. Then they can link to it. I'm not going to go through all these, but these are the strategic priorities for the School for the Deaf. So a strategic plan is critical. Each school has a school improvement plan. The school, those are developed by the directors in conjunction with their stakeholders. That's their staff, their teachers, and their students. And they come together. Since our school is a statewide entity and has got a lot of moving parts and a lot of things going on, I listen once they present those to me in a meeting. And I listen and I take notes and I think, what is a common theme that I see amongst all the divisions? Or is there one that I so want to emphasize that comes particularly from one particular division? And like, for example, outreach is extremely important. And so we talk about outreach, even though it's not something that's common to every single division, right? PIP, extremely important. It's not common to all the divisions, but it's on here. These are not, I don't even understand the concept really very well of a 5-year plan. Are they dying in 5 years? What's the plan on this? I don't know about anybody else, but I'm like, I got to keep looking. Okay, I made progress here. Okay, so I moved the bar here, moved this bar up here, this bar. I mean, it's constant growth, right? And there's some that you accomplish, and we have accomplished some of them, and so we take those off. But it is an ongoing, constant change. And some of these have come on and some of these have dropped off. The most recent one that's come on is improve the social, emotional learning and well-being of our students. Oh, if I could stand at the top of a watchtower with lights a-blaring and red flags going everywhere. That is the most frightening thing for me right now that I see with our students. Our students don't have the complete access that they need. Sometimes, honestly, sometimes it's a blessing they don't have an access to some of the junk that's out there. But then there's also the time when they see the junk, they have no one to dialogue with it about it. It can be extremely detrimental to their emotional health. That they have no one to talk to about things, and it's surfacing. It's surfacing. And I know it's not isolated to the School for the Deaf. I know hearing children are encountering things that we have never encountered before as children. And so this is important that they have someone to talk to, someone to express them to engage in that so that their mental health is good. They need to learn how to problem solve. They need to learn how to think critically. They need to get off those dang devices and have an interaction with a human. And because it's not helping them sitting on those devices all the time. There's a direct correlation to their time on devices with mental health of children. Direct correlation, no question. I have a new daughter-in-law who is she was raised by a single mom by herself and didn't have brothers and sisters. And so she's a little worried about, this idea of getting to be a parent and having family to raise and all this weird, everything's going on in the world, which has gotten crazy. And so she went and starts doing research. Because she's a researcher. All those kind of things, you're like, okay, she's like, well, my kid's not going on TV or any device until they're 5. And I told her, that's great. When they come to Grammy's house, they're watching Bluey with Grammy because Grammy's watching it. I don't know what the child's going to be doing, but Grandma's watching it because Bluey is awesome. I love Bluey. Anyway, these are our goals. You can see and when you get this PowerPoint, you're welcome. It will click down and you can see what the goals are, what we've accomplished, what we're currently working on this year, and where we're heading. So, yeah, go back. Yeah, go ahead, forward. Yes. All right, now I get to talk the fun stuff too. But this is the stuff. This is where my head lives and breathes. Life is a journey. Life is not something and it's not a calm sea.
Appreciate that.
It's not smooth sailing. Oh, I got one. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about life is not smooth sailing. I don't think that it's healthy to wrap the children in bubble wrap and send them off on this, this beautiful clouds and rainbows and flowers, and it's not going to help them. So we're going to talk about that. The other thing is how to help you get out of what you are comfortable with. And that it depends on how you react to these challenges, on how things go. So the next slide. If you want to achieve something, which I believe everyone would like to achieve no one wants to stay stagnant in the water, then you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to be out of there. You're going to have to succeed through, or not in spite of, because of all the challenges that you encounter. Anyone who's achieved something great has had some amazing trials, sacrifices that they have made. The people that I admire the most are people who have endured a tremendous challenge and overcome it. I think it's interesting, I guess, in our culture a lot of ways, that a lot of times people look to people with lots of money, who've got, lots of things going on. Those are not the people that actually Michelle Tanner looks up to. I love Martin Luther King. I think he was amazing. And I also am impressed by my daughter, Marianne, who I've adopted, but she went through some incredible hardship. She's not on any billboard. She's not on any news report. She's overcome some amazing things. Those are the people I respect and admire. Those are the people that I think have accomplished something great. And they're not the ones that are making billions of dollars. They're the ones who are taking it day by day, making a difference, figured it out for themselves, and they have no ambition to be elevated anywhere, and yet they overcame. Through all this, through those challenges, I actually believe that's how you actually get to know what joy is. Through the challenges, then you understand. I always say, these are the things I think about, the concept of sacrifice. I've always thought, how do you define love? There's so many different, I love pizza. I love my husband. Those are very different things. They're not, we should be, here in America or English, we have this one word that describes this vast array of emotions. It should be more like the Eskimos with the snow, right? They got a whole bunch of little words to describe how they feel. Well, love means a lot. So I've come to the conclusion, you know how much you love something by how much you will sacrifice for it. The more deeply you love something, the more you will sacrifice for it. If I love the students and I want my students to succeed, I will sacrifice my time. I will sacrifice my money. I will sacrifice some of the pain and suffering that I see them going. I will endure it with them because I love them. And that makes a great deal of difference. Let's go to the next one. Okay, yeah, this is one. So, push it, let it play. This is my favorite quote. So, when you see, we're all in, we're all in, that is sailing the stormy seas and going through it, you hope and pray that guy, the captain of that boat, has gone through this before and he knows what he's doing, or she knows what they're doing, that when the water's coming in, when the water's rushing, that they know how to handle it. I'm here to tell you, we all got our own little boat and it's sailing through some stormy waters. To pretend that the waters are calm is not going to help us. We must understand and appreciate the waters are going to get like this. We'll have calm times, but they're going to get like this. And we need to know how to handle them. That's what the key is. Because you want to be a skilled sailor. I want to be a skilled sailor. I'm not trying to man anybody else's boat, I'm manning my own. And I want to get through these kinds of experiences. And then the next time I handle them, I will handle them better because I navigated them before. So it's important that we learn how to navigate them. Pause that. Yep. Go back to the presentation. Next slide. That means we got to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. We need to embrace it. Need to not be afraid that life is going to get like that. We're just like, yep, it's coming. Here comes the big wave. I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to do this. It's okay to be a little frightened about that big wave. I'm always frightened. If you want to have courage, you better have, there's going to be fear right paired with it, or else it isn't called courage. So it just says you're moving along. You're moving forward if you have some fear going in. Push the next slide. So I've got this, I love Steve Harvey. He's funny. Push this one, we'll need the sound once it gets through the commercial, I guess. I want you to hear what he said about getting out of your comfort zone, which I think he did a great job of explaining that very well. And why?
Let me show you this. We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to church here. We work over here. We go get our coffee over here. We go to this park over here. We usually go over here to, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. This is our favorite spot on the beach. We all live in this bubble. What you got to do to get the life that God wants you to have, you got to put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. That ain't happening. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary is cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary, and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities, all of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day.
You can watch the whole clip later if you'd like to. So I am standing in front of a group of extraordinary people, the people that have gone beyond ordinary and have said, I want to be extraordinary. And it's not extraordinary personally as much as it is extraordinary for children. And that's even a greater ambition than it is to be extraordinary on a personal level. And so it's somewhat preaching to the choir of what you're doing because you have gotten out of your comfort zone. You have sought to do something different. Keep doing it. So, because I think learning and growing, continual learning and growth is integral to happiness. So keep doing that. Keep doing it. Okay, so when we talk about failure, if you ask somebody, what is the opposite of success? They're going to tell you failure, and they will be wrong. The absolutely includes failure to succeed. You must fail to succeed. In fact, it cannot happen unless you fail. You've got to encounter things and be frustrated with things. You have to overcome things, and then you succeed. You didn't just come through college just swinging kumbaya, singing kumbayas and holding hands. You had to work through it. You had to struggle. You probably failed a few tests. Probably struggled on some projects that you didn't like. You may have encountered on some things that you're like, man, I bombed that. Last week, I'm not even sure what the outcome is, but I sat through a hearing for my brother-in-law because we are articulating that he needs some funding that we felt he was entitled to. He's autistic. He's 42, and we take care of him in our home. And I've sat through that, and I thought, I don't think we're winning this thing. I don't think it's going to happen. But they may have done the wrong thing by letting me go through that, because now I have an ambition that I don't want anybody else to not have to go through that. So I'm going to learn and study because I don't want that to happen for others. So I may not win, but in the end, I learned, which for me is a win. So I can learn to do something that's better. It's a very valuable experience to keep learning and to keep growing. Every experience you have can be either an opportunity to learn, or if you just throw it away, you've wasted that wonderful opportunity to learn from it. Move forward up, next slide. Michael Jordan, okay, before you push play on this, because it'll automatically run, this thing will run. Michael Jordan, everybody knows who Michael Jordan is, right? We're all my age, right? We all know who Michael Jordan is. He is, in my opinion, the best player to ever play basketball. I know there's some that would debate that with me. But for the most part, most people agree Michael Jordan has an amazing skill set. He recorded this video when he was at the height of his success. At the height of his success. Go ahead.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
All right, so I remember about Michael Jordan how amazing he was. the shots he could do, the things. It was fun to watch. We're like, oh, they handed it to Michael Jordan. This is going to be great. He doesn't seem to remember that. He could tell you the numbers and the statistics of how often he failed, but he didn't let him get it down. That's why I keep succeeding, because I learned from that missed shot. I learned from falling down, and he kept going. And because he had that attitude, he was amazing. And that's what I saw, and the rest of us saw. Next one. I think it's important. This is one of the things I think when I talk about social emotional health of the children, the one I'm most concerned with is this idea of perseverance. They don't seem to have the resilience that a lot of times that they need to. I think that's indicative in the suicide rate that we're seeing, which is troubling and disturbing and alarming in so many levels. You got to learn how to persevere, and we need to teach the children how to persevere and be resilient and to overcome those failures and not let them eat them up. And that is to stay focused on your goals, your purpose, what you do, why you do it, and moving forward. And as we move forward, just be cool. I got a hurdle coming. I'm gonna get better after this hurdle. Next one. So before we push this one will run quick too as soon as it runs. Okay. Anybody heard of Buster Douglas? Yeah, I hadn't either. Hadn't heard about it. Again, like I said though, the people that I admire the most, the ones you don't hear about, the ones who didn't do it for any accolades. Buster Douglas was one of the few people that's ever knocked out Mike Tyson. So everybody knows Mike Tyson. But Buster Douglas is one of the few that actually beat Mike Tyson and knocked him out. So this will give a little bit more about who Buster Douglas is. So if you want to push play.
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards. Yeah, we
Just
print
want to
that.
learn about this.
But did you know we also print that?
In here for you.
You can write everything down if you want to. Be brave enough to write every one of your goals down. But I'm going to tell you something. Life's going to hit you in your mouth, and you got to do me a huge favor. Your why has to be greater than that knockdown. And I love it. Buster Douglas got knocked out. Nobody ever got knocked out by Mike Tyson and ever got back up. It was almost a 10 count. He was stumbling. They were 4, 3, 2, 1, and ding, 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 saved by the bell. He goes to his corner. The whole world is like, yep, that's it. Once he comes back out, that's it. Mike's going to just hammer him. And exactly that. Mike Tyson came out like, I got him. I got this kid up against the rope. Listen to me, many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope. You can't give up. You can't give in. Listen to me, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And if life's got you backed up, I need you to do what Buster Douglas did. Buster Douglas started fighting back. The world was shocked. Goliath has been knocked down. What happened? And they went to Buster Douglas and they asked Buster Douglas simply like, what happened? And Buster Douglas said, listen to me, it's real simple. Before my mother died, she told the whole world that I was going to beat Mike Tyson. And 2 days before the fight, my mother died. Buster Douglas had a decision to make. When his mother died, he could die with his mother, or he made a decision, I can wake up and I can live for mom. And he knocked Mike Tyson out simply because his why was greater than that punch. His why was greater than defeat. His why was greater than his trial and his tribulation. And I'm telling you, if you don't know what your why is and your why isn't strong, you're going to get knocked out every single day.
Ooh, yeah. We have a great why at USDB. We have a great why. We have children. We have children that are in need of our assistance. We have parents who don't understand those needs. And as much as you may not recognize what you know and what you have value to give, it is tremendous. And part of that is knowing your why you do what you do, what makes you succeed, what makes the children succeed. Why do you give your heart and soul? Why do you do it? And keeping that locked in and lock into that, you're going to do great things. and you are going to succeed, and you are going to get up every time. My favorite part of that whole clip, it's not when he takes Mike Tyson down, because to me, the greater thing that he accomplished was when he stood up. He didn't let it take him down, and he stood back up. After that, it was a win. Next one. The other piece I want to, the things that get for me, that help me, is that I celebrate what little things I do that I think I'm like, that was awesome. I play a little game you all probably know about, Royal Match, right? It's kind of little, it's addictive. It's my only game I play, and I will play this at night, and just because it's so trivial, it's so lame. I mean, it's a game, and I feel actually guilty that I spend so much time on it. But then my dear husband, he knows that it's something, so we have this thing. He plays his games, he plays solitaire. I play this one. So we'll be driving the car, I'm like, check it out. My husband knows. Yes, you are amazing, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you. I'll go to the next level now. Thank you very much. We celebrate those kind of small successes. I always I've locked into, because I do like to play video games. I play them with my children. I have beat Kingdom Hearts. I don't play the other ones. Those are not my speed. Everybody knows I'm Disney. We don't do all these other violent, gory, graphic games that my children have found. Anyway, I play these games. I've built Kingdom Hearts, and so have you ever noticed when you play a game that, you fight, well, for me it's a Keyblade, you fight, you win all the little guys, and then there's a boss, right? Do we guys not know these things? Should I be talking to a group of teenagers? I do enjoy games. My father is 82, and he has mastered EverQuest and World of Warcraft. I'm just telling you, I inherited this, honestly. But I keep it better in check than my dad does. He pays for those ones and those zeros, and has grandchildren level him up sometimes. Not cool. And then that gets them addicted, and it's a problem. Anyway, but when you play a game, any of these kind of games, you beat different things, then you hit a boss, right? You hit a boss. This is the guy that's hard. That's hard. And when you get done and you conquer the boss, you level up. You level up. So sometimes I'll say to my husband, I'm like, "Is how you doing?" And I'm beating a boss. I'm beating a boss. I'm leveling up. That's what I'm doing. I'm leveling up. That's what's happening here today. And he's like, "Cool. How's it going down?" There's sometimes I'm like, I have children that I feel like that's a boss that's going to take some time, but I'm leveling up. So, but it's helpful to recognize those things that you're doing and identify it. Say, okay, it's tough this time, and this one's a little bit tougher, and this one's, but I'm really excited about today. I did this little thing. I made my bed. That could be it for the day. I'm sure grateful to that moment I got to spend with that child. I really had a great moment with that. Or that trying thing I had today. Boy, what can I learn from this today? And that's my incremental growth that day. So be okay with even this, because nobody goes from here to here without little steps. So go ahead, the next slide.
There we go.
Okay, so this one, before we push this one, I'm going to let this loop twice because it happens fast. I love Denzel Washington. Candace is not here, right? Oh, hallelujah. Candace, when we presented this to Candace, she about swooned out of her seat when the heat flashes. She likes Denzel Washington a lot. We had to calm her down. I don't know if anybody knows Candace, she's loud. She was really loud. We're like, Candace, we'll just keep it and chill. She'd be right here. I'd say it if she were here today. So Denzel Washington always has great quotes. He is built of the same things that I love and value and cherish, which is that you work hard enough and you fall down enough, you keep going. And he has such great words of wisdom to share with us. These are some of them that he has shared.
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. Keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. Keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work. Without commitment.
I love it because we've got commitment here. Everybody here is committed. Everybody's committed and is very devoted. Be consistent. Make those little progress, those little things, just keep going, little at a time. Chunk it away, keep it going, keep learning, keep striving. Keep doing what you can and be okay with the things where you fail, because failure is okay. You keep doing it. And the only thing I don't like is don't finish. I don't plan on finishing. I plan on being consistent. And then I'm going to be taken out. So there you go. I'll be done. But just keep going. Keep being consistent. Next slide. Slide wrapping comments. Just making sure you know that getting out of your comfort zone is a constant thing. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And you don't have to do a big bubble. You can have a little tiny bubble. Just go a little bit. Just go a little bit. Little bit. Nobody's expecting you to consume everything. Making continued progress. It's not going to happen overnight. It just is consistent, but it does happen. It will make a difference. Next slide. Okay, this is my last thing. I want to, before you push play, the point that I want to say is when it gets tough, when you are hitting those big waters that are going to consume your boat and you think that this boat is sinking, don't give up. When the odds seem insurmountable, when they seem overwhelming, keep kicking. Push it.
Have you considered going solar in Utah but are afraid of the huge price tag attached? So most people don't know this, but almost...
Oh, look at that. Oh my God.
Okay, do you see what we got here? He's getting out of his comfort zone. He's going to a land he doesn't really come familiar with. This is not his lane. And he's got a trial coming.
Oh my gosh.
A place where the other is quite adept in that environment.
Wow, look how fast he is.
And he can haul. And this is not his terrain. Yeah.
It's, right? Look at that. He is moving. That gazelle is going.
It's crazy that in the evidence, though. No, they're usually not by this way, though.
Oh, he's so close.
Oh.
I don't know.
Woo. Nice.
Now you keep kicking. And you make it to the other side.
Oh my goodness.
That's keep kicking. And those alligators out there that are in the water, they're trying to get you, just keep kicking. Because now he's on green grass. And now he's got much more to eat and enjoy than he would have had otherwise. Yeah, you go. These videos will go down, and they're worse than cat videos.
No, it's addictive. You can sit there all
the
day.
whole time. No. Because I'm always rooting for the good guy. So those of you that were rooting for the alligator, shame on you.
They have to live too.
I know, I've heard that. I've heard that. I don't know why. Anyway, that's my next slide. This is my thing. Make this year meaningful. Make it playful. I always believe that every time that you're with the child, make it playful. You don't have to be all the time. There's no one fun. There's nobody that's fun that sits there and does that all the time. You got to make it fun. If you're going to take the data, but make it fun. Make it enjoyable. Spend the time with the students. Embrace the obstacles because they're going to be coming. Make those obstacles fun. I've seen some people do some pretty fun things that are pretty amazing. Has anybody ever watched the movie Life is Beautiful? I love this movie. It's not even in my own language. I sure love this movie. That guy is hilarious. He's facing the most devastating and horrific event, and he's got his child with him, which just breaks my heart. And so one of my favorite scenes is when they ask if there's an interpreter in the room that can interpret what the soldier is explaining to him. And I love that they've got the caption of what the guy's saying, and he's making stuff up, man. He's making stuff up. You got to make sure you clean up your bed. Yeah, but and everybody else, all the other people don't understand what in the world is going on. It's like, oh, they said that? But it's hilarious that he took a terrible, horrible thing, tried to soften the blow for his child, and in the process accomplished some good things for them. I mean, even though I'm not even tell you how it ends, but you kind of know how it ends. It doesn't work out well. It's the Holocaust, let's just say. So, but in the end, you've also raised a child, by the way, who was an incredible man. So be happy, embrace obstacles. Next slide. Keep failing, keep expanding, keep persisting. Find joy in every moment that you've got each day. And next slide, I'll see you at work. That's it.
Dr. Michelle Tanner, everybody.